took shots of, they've also made footage of that place. Let me give you one thing about the explosive material, which is more than 100 kg according to the bomb disposal squad. It's a C4 type material which has earlier used in the FIA building blast. And definitely all of us know about that, what kind of blast that was, which totally damaged the whole 8-story building of FIA. So this is the same kind of explosive material which is used in this FIA blast, and according to the expert, its quantity is more than the FIA blast. As definitely it just exploded on the road, and you can see a big hole over there. It's more than 15 feet deep. So this is also all the things during the investigation. And one more thing I would like to mention over here, that it has also been clear in the police investigation as well that there were also some security loopholes at the time of the incident. There were no sandbags which are necessary to present over there at the time of incident, which were present over there for the security guards who were on duty, the policemen who were on duty to protect the rescue on the building. And there were also a shortage of snipers. There were some snipers earlier to protect this building and the law enforcement building on the rooftops of the important buildings over here. So the security loopholes has also been identified in the latest report of the police.
Thank you, and we'll be getting back to you, of course. Joining me now in the studios is Mr. Mubashir Luqman, an analyst, a renowned analyst. Thank you for joining us here. We're looking at exclusive CCTV footage here on Express 24/7, Mr. Mubashir. And what we were speaking to our correspondents as well, and what it appears is that how conveniently this van, of course it's a suicide car bomb, how conveniently it makes its way, as you can see right now, to the barrier and start wreaking havoc at the place. So when government officials do claim that it is very difficult to counter suicide terrorist attacks, do you agree with them?
I think this is a double-edged sword. I mean, what you've just mentioned. While it was relaxed at the barrier, at the entry point over here, you can also see two law enforcement agency personnel who gave their lives and who stopped the terrorists, and they made sure that they couldn't really make it into the building. And that really averted a very major tragedy. It is a major tragedy as it is, and it could have been a mega tragedy if it wasn't for these two gentlemen that you see on your screen. I mean, for me, they are heroes of the country. Okay, I mean, if you look at the loop from the beginning, this is really the end part over here that you're seeing on the screen, and that is when the blast that happens as it is. But let's try and look at the beginning of the loop. It's not a very long one. You can see that white van parked over there. Actually, it's not parked. It's waiting at the intersection.
Make its way.
And it's and when it makes its way, it's actually jumping a red light. It's crossed over.
Exactly.
It's done a traffic violation over there, and the flow of the traffic at that time in the morning is so great that and now it sort of jumps that red light. It jumps the signal.
It seems to be coming from the Lawrence Road.
From the other side, from the other CCTV camera, when you see it comes and stops in front of the barrier, and while a policeman comes to inquire about them, they come out and start firing. You see these two policemen, they lose their lives immediately. One other takes cover and the other hides behind the wall. And now you see smoke on the left side of the screen. This is the first grenade that was thrown by the terrorists. This is at the guard room, police guard room basically. The other one runs, and the second grenade is thrown behind that policeman over there, but he manages to save himself. And now what they're doing is the terrorists have come out of the van, and these two people that were hiding over there, they were actually people who had gone to this, who were going to the CCPO office. Unfortunately, they never made it, and they lost their lives in the process as well. Now the terrorists are trying to secure that area and enter the building. And once you see, this is a point where you see passers-by getting trapped in the crossfire. I mean, this motorbike person also, I mean, he's desperately trying to get out of the way, and he manages to get in, and fortunately, and the other person as well. And when we see the other angle here, this is where the terrorist is trying to open the barrier over there, and he's fumbling with it. And from the other side, you'll see that he really opened it. But can you see that the van is finding it very difficult to move on. There's so much of weight in it. I mean, it's a powerful van and it's still struggling to move ahead.
Yes.
I mean, that's a quantity of explosive that it's carrying. And it is only once it makes past this point that law enforcement agency personnel, I mean, you can see them now, after a while, they come out, these two, and they are the ones who actually blocked them. And these two, they actually stopped them. They gave their lives in the process, and I think they knew what was going to happen to them.
Of course.
But they stood ground. This is the first terrorist going down. That's the first one they got. And then another one behind over there. And they keep on firing at the van, and as a consequence, it explodes. And the terrorists inside the van also went with it. And they didn't have a chance. And this is the exclusive footage of the CCTV cameras that Express News has got.
Yes, and we are also showing it here on Express 24/7. It said, Mr. Mubashir, that around 5 militants took part in this, in wreaking this havoc, as we saw them firing first and causing complete terror.
Actually, anywhere in the world, you can have two people and they can cause terror. I mean, if you and I went on a motorbike in Champs-Élysées or anywhere and started firing over there, it will create a wave of terror. That's not the point. The point is that they were stopped, that the law enforcement agencies got them, they managed to get rid of them, and they avoided a much bigger tragedy than we see. Yes, this entry point, I agree with you. This is very relaxed. I mean, this you can see these policemen, they've made a fumble over here, and that policeman running over there. But fortunately, these soldiers over there, they never ran, and they stood their ground, and that is why they got them.
An intelligence office was also in the vicinity of this, and there were reports that that was the main target of this terrorist attack. But as you rightly pointed out, we just saw, Mr. Mubashir, that the van is a little difficult for the van to move.
No, it can't move at all. I mean, they're struggling to, you know, make it run or make it move or go fast, and I mean, it is carrying a very heavy explosive or detonators or whatever, and I think now the first evidence has started to come out, and you know, it has started to now you can also match it with the DNA tests that are taken over there on the spot, and with the kind of ammunition that is used over there. So bits and pieces of the jigsaw puzzle, they're going to take a form.
And nothing could be made out of the wreckage of this van, of course. But some developments, Mr. Mubashir. We know an FBI team was here yesterday, and they've been collecting forensic evidence. We also know, our correspondent just told us, that 3 prime suspects have been arrested. So, looking at this footage, how clear it is? Do you think it could be used for getting some leads?
I'm sure there's much more to this footage than what we have right now. I mean, what we see is only for a few minutes, but the CCTV cameras were there, and there was a very much longer footage, and I'm sure they can put 2 and 2 together, and eventually, hopefully, we should be able to get to them. I'm not interested whether we blast the government or we don't blast the government. What I am interested in as a Pakistani is that these people should be apprehended, and people behind this attack should be apprehended, and they should be brought to the law.
Of course, causing damage to innocent civilians.
Pakistanis and our country. You know, people who are doing it to our country, I mean, I have no love lost for them.
Of course, this was just after the blast. Exclusive CCTV footage here on Express 24/7 of the blast, that suicide car blast, of course, that took place on Queen's Road here in Lahore at the Rescue 15 headquarters. 26 people had lost their lives, and more than 200 were injured. This explosive laden van, Mr. Mubashir, as we can see once again as the footage starts approaching.
Ironically, it's jumping a red light.
Exactly. That's a different issue on what's the traffic situation.
I mean, it's one violation after the other, basically. I mean, and here is the first policeman who loses his life, and then the second. And because they were shot at point blank range, and they couldn't sort of get out of the way. And it's very unfortunate, but the first few killings happened instantly. And then you see the first grenade being fired, and a policeman running, and a person running behind him and throwing a grenade at him. I mean, they were actually very serious, and they didn't want to leave any law enforcement people over there.
And as you rightly said, of course, they gave up their lives, some law enforcement personnel, to prevent a bigger tragedy, preventing a bigger loss of life. But how do you look at the presence of the number of security personnel that have been deployed here at?
You see, I'm not a security expert. I can't give an analysis on that. All I can say is that how many personnel can you put in any building, and each building of the government? It's not physically possible to have a large number of security personnel. What we do need is scanners in major cities of the country. And I just read the newspaper this morning, and it was good to know that government has finally ordered some scanners to be installed on the highways and at the entry points of various cities. And I